Welcome to a new series of typewriter surgery. I'm going to reset the series numbers because I've put away the electronic 85 for a little while. The issues go a lot deeper than I had anticipated. It's getting a little bit frustrating. I didn't want to dwell on it. I'd rather get something that I really understand going. And this, the Selectric 3, from 1980 to 1983, I think. I'm not sure when this one was from because I haven't found any info on it yet. This is something I get. No circuit boards. It's actually, I think this one might have a couple of circuit boards, it being from the 80s. But it's much less dependent on electronics. It's all about, like, it's got a great feel to it. The keyboard has good mechanical snap. I really like it. And I got this one at Goodwill. So of course the first step is to clean it off, and it is disgusting. So that's what this episode is probably going to be, just a lot of cleaning. The outside is filthy. It's covered in dust and grime. Kind of like greasy garage dirt that you find on stuff that's been sitting around for too long in an old place. Inside, it's got that same nasty 80s foam that's rotting out. And of course the Goodwill employees thought it was a good idea to scribble on it in oil pastel so they can mark the price on it. So I'm going to have to get rid of that, and I guess that's going to be the first step. So here we go. So now you can see, this is the price tag. I think that's a really effective way to make sure no one changes the price, I guess. I don't really know what they were thinking there, but that's like bright orange pastel. So what you gotta do, take a cheap hair dryer. Well, I guess you could probably use a heat gun or a not cheap hair dryer, and you just blast it. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna heat this all up, and then I'm gonna wipe it off. This worked for another one I had. Still have. Doesn't have grease on it anymore. Here we go. I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, it's all clean. There's a long delay there. So I hair dried it for a while. That didn't work. I found a spot of, it just kind of spread it around with the hair dryer. The whiteout that I found over here is gone. And this is the only time you should ever use WD-40 on a typewriter, or really any machine, as a cleaning solution. It's an incredible solvent for all kinds of paint-like stuff, and wax, and oils, including oil pastel. So it completely disappeared, this whiteout, completely got rid of all the pastel smudge. I might even use it, like, maybe on the bottom of this thing, in the bottom of the tray when everything else is gone, because there's a lot of foam in there that I'm aware of, but we're not there yet. So next thing, this I need to put away. I don't know why it's here. It's the lights from the other typewriter. I'm gonna start tearing foam out of this thing. I'm gonna bring a bag up. I don't want to take too much out because I don't want it to fall in. I think I might take the lid off first. I'll show you how to do that. It's very similar to the other typewriter, to the 85. So let's get on that. So just like the 85, you pull this up. You'll notice that this is much more rotten than it was on the 85. I'm gonna chalk that up to the slightly older age. There's just crap all over here. This is all rotten foam all over the cartridge, so I'm gonna take that out as soon as I can. And just like the 85 and just like every Selectric, there are just two little brass tabs here. Actually, one's brass, one's or maybe just anodized aluminum. One is plain aluminum or steel, I can't tell. Just pops out. You push it on two of them at once, it comes out. This is in good shape. There's some sticky nasty stuff on the platen, but I can wipe that off. I'm going to put that back behind here. Actually, I'm going to take it out. It's going away. It's going away for life. It's going to go into my other electronics drawer where it's going to get nasty sticky stuff on everything else. Okay, and also, just like the 85, there are two tabs. These are much smaller. I pull them out forward towards the front of the case. Try not to get too much of that nasty black stuff under your fingernails. Close it up, and it lifts. And, oh, don't close it up, actually. The margins... It's dusty. The margins need to be flipped up so that it can come off. Oh, God. This is the nastiest thing I've opened yet. I'm gonna try to close this. There we go. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of stuff flopping around on this. I think I'm gonna try to clean the cover first. But now you can see inside. Very different picture. Very different picture from the 85. No circuit boards. No wiring really, except over here. Just a lot of little mechanical levers. And these are what actually control the typewriter. Which I think is way cooler. You know, you can get a computer to do anything, but can you get a machine to do the same thing the computer does? The answer is no, because this thing doesn't do nearly as much as the 85 should, but it does what it does more reliably. So, yeah, let's get to work on that cover. We'll come back to the actual body here shortly, but I'd really like to get some of the worst stuff off of the cover so it stops spreading to the tops of the insides. Let's check that out. Okay, so I've got the camera at eye level, so hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. The most rotten stuff is right here. And what I see, this is a mistake I see a lot of people who clean these things out making. They don't realize that this foam isn't just adhered to the material. It actually has... Oh, I'm wrong. On the 85 it has a sticky backing that you can actually peel off, so it's like a sticker. The whole thing comes off together. Unfortunately, I don't think we have that luxury here. So I'm going to start working on this. I'll find a good tool for it, start scraping along, and then I think I'll try bringing in the WD-40 and see if that actually works to dissolve the nasty stuff that's left over. So hold on a second, we'll be right back with tools. Okay, so I'm going to try not to worry about getting stuff, having it fall onto the bottom, but I absolutely will start worrying about that. Oh, that sounds like tape. Oh, there is tape. Okay, good news, everyone. Oh, that's nice. Very easy. I can take this all off in one piece and then move on, because I don't want to touch this anymore. Ugh. Oh, look how clean that is. That's beautiful. It's so pretty. Don't want to get it on anything else, though. Oh, perfect. That's great. Alright. Now we're going to check out this. It looks like this thing is just stuffed in here, so I'm going to see if I can... Oh, it's so nasty. Ugh. We're gonna have to take a vomit break. The only thing I can really get in here is my fingers, but I really don't want to have my fingers covered in this stuff, but I have to. I don't have a choice. And it looks like this part is a tape. I'm just gonna have to get my fingers clean before I start peeling at it. They're just... I see an edge. Trying not to touch the visible surfaces with my filthy fingers. New technique. It's slightly faster. Okay, I found an even faster way. You just kind of wind it up around the driver and twist slowly. I finally got the tape to peel. Okay, so I got everything out, mostly. Before I go any further, I'm going to give it a little blast of compressed air. That's not how compressed air works. Make sure your straw is in. Actually, I mean, that's good advice for pretty much anything in life. Always make sure your straw is in. And that didn't actually do very much for me. This grating seems to be trapping a lot of the particles. I'm going to take some WD-40 to this now. Remember, when you're using WD-40 on this, you don't want to get it on anything that you don't realize you're getting it on, if that makes sense. So, because it all has to come off, you don't want to leave it on anything. So, you take a paper towel and you spray it in, and you use that to clean up. You don't spray it directly on the electronics, or I guess this isn't electronics. You don't spray it directly on anything. Working it in here, it'll dissolve the goo. It's getting easier to slide back and forth now. Still a lot to pick up. So I'll keep working at this. Alright, so now it's pretty shiny. Gonna give it one last spray to get the white fluff out from the paper towel. Couple of little remaining things. It's not a big deal. Yeah, it's very manageable. So now I'm going to give it a wipe down with a fresh, clean wipe. So with that finished, we've got another issue. There used to be shock absorbing tape on the bottom of this, but it's melted and transferred to the top of this. So this is worse because there's no... The sticky part is on top now, or the tape part, which is no longer sticky, is on top. So I'm going to try, yeah, it's not taking up much of the black stuff with it. Going to use a wipe to get as much off as possible, and then it's WD-40 time. More good news. There's another strip. That should leave it as clean as... And on the top, there was a nice free end for me to go like this. Nope, I really don't want this one to break. That's going to take some WD-40 to finish off. So in an effort to keep this grime from climbing onto anything else as I work around the body, I've totally cleaned up my workspace again. I mean, there's marks on it, but I just have to scrub those out. They won't transfer. And now we're moving on to the next part. So let's see what's here. So here's something interesting. There are two foam pads here. I don't know if they were added after production, later in this thing's life, or if they're just a different material. But they aren't rotting the same way. The glue under them is rotting, but they're totally different. I've looked into the chemistry of these things. Supposedly this is something that just happens to polyurethane, particularly the foams, due to exposure to ozone and moisture. And ozone is everywhere, even if you don't think about it as being everywhere. Especially around electronics, because magnetic, or I guess EMF can create ozone. I didn't know about that, but it makes sense. And see, I'm working upside down now, so all of the worst stuff is gonna fall into my previously clean areas. This is nice. Trying to put this in the bag right away now. Oh crap. Okay, so here we are 12 hours later. Not 12 hours of continuous work, just 12 hours. You can see all the foam's gone. It's still nasty over here. I've got a fly in here also, stirring up all the dust in my light, ruining my perfectly clean typewriter. So anyway, this is clean, this whole side is clean, that side's still covered in goop, but it's not bad goop, it's just like a thin layer. I'm going to use some solvent tomorrow once I can get outside. It's storming right now and it's dark. So that'll happen later. But now I'm going to move on to the internals. And I guess I'll have to pull the foam out of the bottom of the case too. And I'm going to start cleaning that. So... Phew! It definitely rings. Alright, so I got this mess. Yeah. Okay. I have to take the foam out of the bottom too. I really don't want to do that tonight. It's so sticky and my hands are turning raw from all the soap. I'm gonna get some gloves tomorrow. This thing is just covered in dust, which is probably why it's sticky. I mean, the function is sticky. I'm gonna see if I can get it out of the tray, see where I go from there. So you pull this lever here forward, and then it should lift up, kind of like a car hood. Okay. Yep. It lifts up. I need to need to weigh it down somehow, I think. It's got a nice pair of hinges back there. And the foam in the bottom isn't nearly as rotten. It's still pretty rotten, but it's a little bit more manageable. So let's check that out a little bit closer. Okay, so after offering you a closer look, I just realized I can't manipulate the camera while picking this thing up. So I guess I'll just open it up. I already did. There's actually a loose spring just laying in the bottom, so I'm gonna have to find where that goes. Chances are, from what I've read, it's a part of the clutch, which has a bunch of redundant springs, so it's all right. But if it's not, I know where it fell, so I can probably trace where it came from. Just looking on the inside here, I see two belts here, which is good. There are these bands that run across. These are the tilt and rotate. I think they're actually called tapes. They are tensioned by these little wheels on the side that pull out or push in. I probably just pull out varying distances to control what character gets typed. Other things I'm seeing in here, it's absolutely filthy. I don't even know how you get this much dust in a machine. I guess it's particularly dirty over here, probably because the motor fan was right here. Random looking cable hanging in here. Seems important. I won't play with it. Other than that, the keys are locked because it's off. This model I tested when I first got it. The issue with this thing, yeah, this one, it will type for a while and then a key will lock up, and the only way to unlock it is to push tab. I'm not sure why that works, but it might honestly just be a lubrication issue because this thing is so filthy. these keys, there's that same foam crap stuck in the interposers. And correct me if you're watching this and you see me calling these interposers and they're not interposers, tell me, because I can't remember the name for them. The keyboard is covered in the same nasty, like, it's very fine dust. It's like super light fluff that just compresses into nothing when you touch it. So I think it might just be like skin flakes. Other than that, here, I'll pull it open. So you gotta put weight down on the case so it doesn't slip. But you see in here, I'll hold it up, jack it up with my arm. There's a spring. It's made its own little pit in here. I don't know why that is. There are these two little posts for these little feet to slip over. So those are working. Those are holding in place. I see lots of spare springs, bits of fluff that shouldn't be there. I guess tomorrow's job is to rip this all out, because I really don't want to take this out in here. It hurts to hold up. And I guess I should go in there and I should check out the... Ow! I should go check out the main drive sprocket. Did that close down? Yeah, that closed down. Because the ultimate death sentence for most Selectrics is when their main drive sprocket cracks. It's not actually a sprocket, it's a pulley, because it's driving a belt, but everybody calls it a sprocket. That gets on my nerves. So what are we seeing here? Got these two different levers. I'm not sure what they do yet. I think this is for changing ribbon. I haven't actually done any of this yet on this model. I have no idea how to change ribbon on this. I just realized. Guess that would be pretty important, wouldn't it? On that note, I'm gonna go figure out how to take the ribbon out so I can clean this disgusting piece of plastic, and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is actually a lot simpler than I thought. This is for the erase ribbon, or the lift-off. This is the ribbon, the actual ribbon. You pull it all the way to the left, and it's just some snaps. You pull it up. That's what the manual says. Thanks, Selectric.org. Okay, so it's a few days later, maybe just one day later, depending on how this is edited. The top is still clean, as it's gonna get. I haven't done anything, I was busy. But I've isolated the reason that it's not returning. This helical spring is off the clutch, and it has no spring to attach it to the base. So I'm gonna try to work it back on. And that spring that I found in the bottom of the tray, of course, belongs to this, so I'm gonna see how this goes. I gotta figure out where it actually belongs. First of all, I'm gonna loosen it by twisting it this way, and then work it back onto the shaft. This may not film very well. I'm gonna have to cut out and come back when this is done, because I need both hands and they're just gonna be in the way. Alright, I'm low on battery, but I got it just barely working. The spring, as you can see, the loop end goes over this projection. It's very loose right now, as you can see. That's why I say barely. The hook end goes over this little hook, and what I had to do is unscrew this plate. That was very tricky. I don't have a good wrench for it. And moved the little tab from the B slot here to the C slot, and that was it. And that's just barely enough tension to get it going. I'm gonna try to order a new spring for it, so I can actually put the right amount of tension on. But for now this will do. Okay, so I just realized that a couple of the videos that came before this one were totally mute. That doesn't really matter because the last one explained everything. You see this very limp spring in here. It's not doing much, so I'm going to pull this out with great difficulty. Hold on a sec. And now I've got a beautiful new spring that I was given by the guy at my machine shop at work. See that? That should be just right. I didn't actually bring in the stock spring to compare it, but hold on. It doesn't have a hook end, so it's not quite ideal for this position. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get over, but when I do, I will tell you if the return is working. And it's working. I had to cut the spring down many times and trim the end and twist it into a little loop, but as you'll see, faintly, it is gripping the shaft, and everything continues to spin once I hit enter. It goes all the way back and you can hear it lock. So it's good now. I'm gonna actually twist the end, the free end, the one that I didn't modify, a little bit more to make sure it doesn't slip off again, and then I'm gonna call it a day for this thing. So that might be it for this writer, besides more cleaning videos. See you next time.